if I handed you $50,000 right now, could you turn it into weekly income without gambling or guessing? Most people would have no idea where to turn. In today's video, I'm going to show you exactly what I do. And even if you're somebody that has a smaller portfolio of even $10,000 or $20,000, you're going to see a strategy that you've probably never even heard about that can actually generate you some amazing incomes on a weekly or monthly basis. Let's go. Also, guys, today's video, one lucky commenter down below is going to get a free one-on-one quad option strategy call with me to show you how you can collect your very first premiums using the quad option strategy, which you'll also be learning in today's video. But just drop a comment and make sure you're subscribed and like this video, because today's strategy, guys, I actually got recommended from one of you. One of you asked me, hey, I have a smaller portfolio. Like if I have, 25, 50K, how would you like allocate it, or how would you think through things? In today's video, I'm going to show you exactly what I do, especially if I needed to start generating some income for myself from the actual portfolio. Okay. So first one is T-Row. T-Row is one of my favorite stocks to do this strategy on that you're going to see here in a second because of the amazing dividend. As you guys know, with our quad option strategy, we love to do them on dividend paying stocks because it's like a little cherry on top. But let me go full circle with you guys on how this strategy looks like, and then we'll kind of dive more into what stocks to do it on, what stocks to not, because I have a whole list of great stocks and companies. So make sure you watch this whole video. So we're going to go over to our T-Row options chain. We're going to click sell put. Now what this is an options chain. And basically this is where we're selecting the price that we'd be comfortable buying 100 shares of a stock at on a certain date, right? So here is where we can actually select our expiration date. Now there's two strategies to this. You could do these on a weekly basis, or you could do them on a monthly basis. So right here, you could see if I go monthly, I get better share prices that I can select and better premium income, as you're going to see. But for the sake of this video, our goal is to generate weekly income. So we're going to strictly stick to weeklies. Okay. So right here, I'm just selecting April 17th, which expires next week. Okay. Now from here, I'm going to select a strike price that I'd be comfortable purchasing those 100 shares at next week. We could see that T-Row is getting beat up today, like a lot of companies. So this is a good opportunity to sell puts. So right now you can see this dropped 7.5%, and I can actually purchase this put right here for $75 put. If I open up this put, you can see my delta is a 0.15, which actually isn't very aggressive at all. That basically tells us that there's a 15% chance that T-Row will drop to 75 and I actually have to buy it. That's not very aggressive. I'm going to go take a look at these 80s. And these 80s are actually a lot nicer. There's a 0.30 delta, meaning there's about a 30% chance that I'll actually be assigned and have to buy the shares. But there's an 80 or 70% chance that nothing happens and I walk away with the premium. What is that premium? Well, it's $85 that we'd actually be collecting. So we're going to toss that into our cash secured put calculator. I know you guys love these calculators. You always ask me, where can I get them? Where can I get them? They're all free inside of our Facebook group and an option selling mastermind. The link will be down below in the description. So our premium is $85. Now, what is our collateral? Well, we are buying potentially 100 shares at $80. So 80 times 100 is $8,000. So we'll put $8,000 in collateral here. Now, with that $8,000, we are getting about a 1% return in a single week. Okay, we're getting a 1% return in a single week, which to me is fantastic. Now, what would our actual monthly income look like, or weekly income look like, if we were able to deploy all of our capital here? So this is where we can actually select how many contracts we want to do. So I'm going to quickly just put, we might be able to get away with 6. Let's see. Yeah, we will. So 6. Look, I'm not that smart, guys. You already know. So that's $48,000, right, for 6 contracts. If we bought 6 contracts right here, and that would collect us about $510 in weekly income. Obviously, timesing that by 4 gets you a little over $2,000 per month. This is what we call making your money work for you. And you've probably never even heard about this strategy. Now, to make this full circle before we get into the other companies, I'm going to assume some of you are tuning in here for the first time. Welcome. All right, only option selling community on YouTube here. But there's a few things that can happen, right? So if T-Row actually does drop to 80, we would have to buy those shares. Now, that's okay, because what we can do something is called the covered call, right? Where we now use the shares as our collateral and collect even more premium income. I'm not going to dive too much into our covered calls in this video, but there is a link down below, as well as the content on this channel. There's so much that talks about that other side of it, which is very, very important. So either go watch some of the stuff in the description of the video, or check a look at some of the content. But it's actually a good thing to be assigned shares. Okay, it's a good thing. Okay. So you can see our cash secured put, we could collect roughly about $2,100 every single month. And that would give us about, a 1% return every single week, which is fantastic. Now, that might not be enough for you necessarily to retire, but to me, an extra $2,000 per month on around $50,000, $48,000 in this example is fantastic in my opinion. Let's go take a look at some of these other stocks that I want to share with you guys about. The next one is SoFi. You guys hear me talk about SoFi a lot because it's a great budget-friendly stock. This one is one of my favorite stocks to run the wheel strategy on. I plan to also have a live portfolio here on the channel soon for you guys. And SoFi, I can almost guarantee you, will be primarily what I'm doing, especially since I started this portfolio around like $5,000, $10,000, a much smaller portfolio. So right here, we can see SoFi also deep in the red today. When stocks are plummeting down, that is a great time to sell your cash secured puts. And when they are green, they're going cover calls. Okay, so let's go trade SoFi options. We'll click our sell put, and it will go out about our week to 7 days right here. And what we can do now is obviously select another share price that we'd be willing to buy 100 shares. Now, 100 shares here isn't that much money. Even if you did the tens, that's $1,000. And look at these premiums. So what we're just going to quickly look at is what are the deltas right now. So I'm going to open these 9.5s right here. You can see that's a 33 delta. So a little bit aggressive, but again, not crazy. Looking at these nines right here is a 0.24, which kind of isn't aggressive enough. And this is where you have to, as an investor, make your own decisions, right? Because you're an adult and you don't just listen to people on YouTube, right? So I personally would go with the 9.5s. That's about a 32 delta. So 32% chance of assignment and about a 70% chance that nothing happens. So let's take a look. We collect $48 in premium on that. And we're going to go over here to our cash secured put calculator, $48. And all we need to put up is $950 because, again, the share price is a lot lower. It's $950 times 100 is $950, right? We all know math here. And you could see we collect that $48 in a single week. And our return now is 5 times higher than what T-Row was. Isn't that interesting? Stay with me for the rest of this video because I want to make sure this is all full circle for you here. If you bought 6 contracts, we can actually afford a lot more of these contracts. Listen, I'm not good at math. I think we could like about 50 contracts. Can we get some more here? Let's see, 55, okay, so we're just going to say 52. All right, 52 on the money. We could do 52 contracts right here. And with our 52 contracts for our 50K budget, we would collect $2,500 in a single week. That's very nice, right? That's about almost $10,000 a month. Right? Very, very nice. I think some of you are like, oh my goodness, nice. I'm starting to see the light here. Yes, you are seeing the light here, but understand SoFi is more of a riskier company, okay? When you look at a T-Row, which is more of an established fund, right? So you need to understand what your risk tolerance levels are. For me personally, I wouldn't put all of my eggs in one basket. I'm going to give you guys a lot of different ideas in today's video with a lot of different companies that I love running this strategy on, but you can mix and match these. There's nothing wrong with maybe doing, 1 or 2 contracts with T-Row, then a couple with SoFi and a couple, and you can mix and match this, and then you could see, hey, what kind of risk tolerance you want to do. Obviously, the bigger your return is, the more of a risky play it is, right? So you have that amazing weekly return of $2,500 every single week, right? That's fantastic, right? And if you're a believer, and always make sure you are a believer in the companies that you're doing the strategy on. Let's go over to our next one, Apple, right? Apple off a big cliff, obviously a lot of the tariff news and stuff like that. But Apple is a company that I love running cash secured puts on because it's Apple. I mean, is there anything else left to say? Let's go take a look at our trade Apple options here, and then we will click our sell put, and we'll go out to our week here, and let's take a look at what these premiums look like. All right, I'm going to quickly scroll down to, let's say, the 170s, and we'll see what our delta is. So it's about a 0.24 delta. We're going to stick to about 0.3 delta so we're the same everywhere for all our stuff. Okay, perfect. Hit nail on the head. 175s, right? And we're collecting $490 now. $490. So let's put that into our premium calculator. $490. Our collateral now, what did we say it was, is 175 times 100, so that's $17,500. So a little bit more, right? A little bit more expensive here, right? But it's a more established company. You could essentially say it's less risky than SoFi, right? But that all comes down to your obvious risk tolerance, right? So we'll just do 3. So we can't afford 3, but we'll do 2. Let's do 2. So this is a good example, right? It goes past our budget. But we can also go and allocate the rest of that money into different companies like SoFi or T. Rowe or some of the others that we're going to talk about. And you could see in a single week here, we are collecting almost 3% on a company like Apple. Now, obviously, Apple has elevated volatility right now, which is juicing up these premiums for us because of the whole tariff situation and what's going to happen with their manufacturing and how much more they're going to have to raise the prices on iPhones, et cetera, et cetera. So there is when there's elevated volatility, these premiums are so much juicier, especially for a company like Apple. In my opinion, owning Apple under $200 is a blessing. That's just my opinion. Do your own research. But you can see we collect about $1,000 every single week on this. So about $4,000 a month if we're able to do this trade every single week for our month for about a 3% return on Apple, which to me, a 3% return on Apple doesn't really happen often. Obviously, you're going to see that in this game for longer. Let's go into another one. One of my favorites, me and my community's absolute favorite companies to trade options on, and that is NVIDIA, whatever you want to call it. Or let's go over to the trade option section. Again, having a rough day today, big pullback today, another bull trap yesterday, in my opinion. We're going to go out to our week here, and we're going to sell put. To me, I'm going to, again, just stick to our 0.30 delta. So let's look at the 99s. Okay, 99, that's a 0.30 delta. Right here, what's our hundredths right here? 0.32. Let's go with the hundreds just for the simplicity of the numbers. So we're gonna go with that. We're gonna collect 320. If you're wondering why it says 320, every options contract is 100 shares. Okay, so 100 times 325, right? And you could see that's what we'd actually collect right here, $325. So we'll put our 325 in premium right here, and then we are putting up $10,000, right? Because we're saying we're willing to buy 100 shares of NVIDIA at $100. Now, we can buy 5 contracts right here, right? That hits us our nail on the head. That's why I wanted to do the very simple math here for us. And you can see we collect about $1,600 a week on doing this trade. That's fantastic. And the cool thing about this, guys, is I'm not showing you the covered call side. And you might be looking at this and getting like 3 point and you getting excited. Wait till you see you combining this with the covered call strategy along with dividend paying stocks. And this is called quad option strategy, right? Watch the first link in the description and you're going to see how much more you're actually making because you're making money on covered call premiums. Plus, when you actually sell your shares, you're making appreciation sales plus collecting dividends. It's fantastic. It's changed my mindset completely on how the market actually works. And it's basically a 30-minute class. I'm not here to waste your time. Link will be in the description. So we're collecting about another over 3.25% on NVIDIA here, about $1,600 a week, deploying $50,000 in capital. That's fantastic in my opinion, and a fantastic income stream. Now, let's talk about I'm scared to bring these up. That's why I saved them for last, because I know most of you will drop off the face of the earth on this video. And that is leveraged ETFs. I know. Listen, tread lightly with these. The premiums are juicy as can be, but you want to tread lightly. So before we get into the leveraged ETF, we're going to talk about SPY. Your goal, in my opinion, you have different goals in your life and stuff, but you want to get to the point where you can run the wheel strategy on SPY and make a good income for yourself, retire early, whatever it might be. It is an expensive company, right? $50,000 to do sell puts on this right now. Okay. So let's go see trade SPY. We're going to go sell put and we're going to go out to our 7-day expiration again. And we're going to select a strike price that we're comfortable buying SPY. Let's keep going down. All right, so I'm again looking for that 0.30 delta. Let's look at the 500s right here. All right, 0.33 delta. We might stick with that one, 0.31 delta. Let's just stick with the 500 because that's just about a 0.30 delta, 0.33 delta. So that's going to collect us $1,040, right? 1040. Our collateral here is $50,000, right? We're only affording one. Why would this be the best strategy for you? Well, SPY has always come back and hit all-time highs. That's a fact. That's not me making something up. It has always come back and recovered and hit all-time highs. So if you ended up having to buy your shares of SPY at your $500 strike price, you for the most part, we'll be able to do a covered call the following week unless we see some massive drop, which we have seen that crazy volatility right now. I mean, guys, look at yesterday with SPY, how it had an insane recovery and a drop just the day before. We live in an insane time right now, okay? But for the most part, SPY tracks obviously that 500 companies. It's self-cleansing, drops the losers, winners rise, and winners stay. So if you get stuck holding a SPY, in my opinion, that's not a bad thing. It's an ETF that is already diversified for you. While all the other examples that I've showed you today, they're not as diversified, right? Apple, I mean, could go out of business, right? It could, right? SoFi could go bankrupt, right? Like T. Rowe could shut its doors. Like these things can happen. Now, are they likely? Sure, not. But that's why you're rewarded for those riskier plays. While when you look at a SoFi, which is or SPY, 2% in a week on SPY. I mean, absurd times that we live in. This isn't normal. Usually you're getting a 1%, 0.5%. But you want to get to the point where you can run the SPY wheel. That's where I believe true freedom comes in for you. I do believe that from the bottom of my heart, and is one of the reasons that I started this channel. The sooner you can get to the point where you can solely focus on running the SPY wheel with like a 7-figure portfolio, you no longer need to go and chase crazy things. Listen, all of us like to do fun things. All of us like to sell options on like the SoFis and NVIDIAs, sure, because the returns are nicer. But when you can get to the point where, let's say, you're able to do 10 contracts at 500,000, you're going to be making $10,000 a week, about $40,000 a month. Not to mention the covered call side where you're going to be making an additional $10,000, but that's every week again. And when you sell it, making the appreciation sale plus the little dividend that you get. That's true freedom in my opinion. There's no other way, no business that you can start. There's nothing that you can do that doesn't require a ton of overhead. Obviously, you're going to have taxes that you have to deal with, but that's inevitable in anything you do in this life, unfortunately. You want to get to the point. And in my opinion, you don't even need $500,000 to do it. In my opinion, really, once you could do 250K and you're doing about 5 contracts a week and you're collecting 5K a month, I think for the most part, every single one of us is perfectly fine with making 20K a month, right? Even after taxes, you're pretty comfortable, right? For the most part. Now, if you want to be lavish, obviously you're already probably somebody that's successful in business in your career, so then you could pour more money into like a SPY wheel. That's the power of this strategy, okay? You want to get to the point where you could do something like this, okay? Even if you start with one contract like I showed you, okay? Now, I'm going to show you a leveraged ETF. For the most part, I recommend most of you don't even touch this stuff, all right? Because a lot of you will get burned. A lot of you will get burned. Okay, but I understand some of you want to see this stuff, and probably the one I do recommend 3. And I don't even want to say I recommend. I'm just showing you. SPXL is basically tracks the S&P 500, and then SQQQ and TQQQ track QQQ. These are really the only one leverage ETFs that I've ever messed around with because at least it's tracking the ETFs. Okay, now you have to be very careful with your leveraged ETFs, okay? I will actually, I'm sorry that I'm actually bringing this up so late into this video, but I'm gonna actually leave a link in the description, or actually I'll leave it to every single person that comments. Hopefully I re-edit the front, but you know what? Because you stayed with me this whole video, you're only going to get it, right? So drop a comment down below, and I'm actually going to put together an ebook. You guys know I love writing these ebooks and giving them away. If you comment just whatever, or just comment whatever, I'm going to put together a leveraged ETF playbook for you that's going to show you how you can trade these leveraged ETFs. Why might you want to consider doing leveraged ETFs? Well, it's $100 compared to $500, and the premiums are a lot more juiced up. All right, now there's a lot to consider. We're already at 20 minutes now, so I don't want to go into everything, but just drop a comment down below in today's video, and I will give you our leverage. I will put together a leverage ETF playbook, like a cheat sheet 1-pager that you guys have been really enjoying. But look at these, right? Look at these, right? Let's go find a delta here. That's 7 days expiring. Let's look at these hundreds, 0.37 deltas. Let's look at the 90s, about 0.24 delta. Let's find our sweet spot, maybe 95s. Okay, 95 sitting down on the head, 30. All right, 0.30 delta, right? We're collecting $540 here. Let's go back to our cash secure calculator. What are we putting up? 9,500. $9,500. And what are we collecting on SPXL? 560. We're collecting 560 right here. And look at that, a return of 5.89%. That's a lot, right? You're collecting $2,800 a week. Now, there is more to consider when you're running this strategy, and that's why I said drop a comment. I'm going to put together a one-pager. If enough of you drop comments, I'll actually put it together. If like one of you do, like, I'm sorry, I probably won't, but at some point I will. So drop comments, spam them down there, and I will put together that leverage ETF playbook so you guys can see some of like the TQQQ, SQQQ stuff, SPXL, and some other ones, because you can find leverage ETFs for basically anything out there. So just be very careful with it. I'll give you guys the playbook. Just drop a comment, and I usually will reply personally to you with that playbook, guys. And also, if you want to join my incubator, I have an incubator program where I basically take you by the hand and show you how you can create an option selling income portfolio for yourself. I always recommend give this a year to really start seeing amazing results. And I have a very small group of people that I work with on this pretty much all day long, market hours, especially Monday through Friday. If you think you're somebody that would be a good fit for that, the link in the description will take you to learning about our strategy and then booking a call with us to see if it's an actual good fit. It's a super non-toxic environment. And it's such a fun time for me. It's truly my passion in life now to get this message to as many people as I humanly possibly can, because it's something that I truly wish, when people ask me, what do you wish you learned in life sooner? It is this. Everywhere I go, I tell people about this strategy because I know how much it can change your life, and you have no idea it even exists. So if you would love some hand holding through this process and having access to me kind of mentoring you through this whole entire process, plus a ton of other amazing things, take a look at that first link in the description of today's video. Guys, remember, sell options, collect premiums, repeat. I will see y'all tomorrow.